Hey everyone, this is Nelson from Priority Bicycles, and today I'm going to show you how to do a flat fix on an Enviolo hub. Today we're going to work on the current, but the same steps will work on your Turi, Onyx, and Priority Coast with the Enviolo hub. To fix your flat, you'll need the following tools: a 15mm wrench to remove the wheel, a 5 and a 4mm Allen key to realign and adjust your belt, a set of tire levers to remove the tire, an inner tube, obviously you want to get the correct size for your bike to replace it, and something to inflate your tires such as a CO2 kit or a pump. In the event your bicycle uses pinheads or any other wheel security systems, please use the key provided with the system. So if you get a flat while riding your bike, it's best to move to a safe zone where you're away from any oncoming traffic or pedestrians coming your way. If you can get something to hang your bike, such as a repair stand, I've used a branch before as well, but something to hang up the bike will make this job a lot easier. If not, you can always flip the bicycle upside down so that the saddle and the handlebars are on the ground and your wheel is facing upward. First thing we'll want to do is rotate the shifter so that the indicator is in the middle, like so. Now let's disconnect our gear cables. If you have trouble doing so, take a look in the description below for a video on a detailed process. So we're going to open up this lever, pull on the cable, unhook that, and then we're going to remove the housing as well. And then we're going to do the same for the one on top. Undo the housing first, pull on it, and then grab this cable to unseat that NARP. And then I'm just going to let the cables hang down like so. Now we can get our 15mm wrench and loosen the axle nuts and remove the wheel. I like to hang my belt here just so it's not hanging around. Now that we have the wheel off, we want to check the external side of the tire to make sure there's nothing sticking out, such as a nail, piece of glass, or anything that could have caused a flat. So I'm just going to go throughout here until I find something possibly puncturing through. And there you have it, a little piece of metal that stuck through the tire that caused my puncture. Sometimes it won't be this obvious, and you'll really have to go in between the treads just to find what caused that puncture. So this one's pretty easy. I'm just going to grab this piece out. Personally, I don't like to throw this back into the road because it's just going to cause a flat for another rider. If you can, throw this in the garbage or put it in your pocket until you get to a spot to throw it out. All right, now let's use our tire levers to remove the tire. Usually one tire lever is enough, but using two is going to be a lot easier. You'll want to use this side on the tire, and this little hook over here, you can put it onto a spoke. So we're going to find a spoke on the outside like this one here. I'm going to hook onto the tire and then hook the spoke like so. And then I'm going to find a spoke about one spoke over on the same side and get the tire like this, and then go all the way around. Okay. Then remove your inner tube. Now I'm going to thoroughly check the inside of the tire just to make sure nothing else poked through. Okay. And I'm doing this slowly, making sure I don't cut myself either. So nothing else has stabbed the tire. I'm going to inflate my replacement just enough to give it definition and then install it onto the tire. Before installing our inner tube, we're just going to center the tire logo to the valve hole. Then grab your valve and install it inside the hole. Again, we've got a little bit of air in here just to give this definition. And I'm going to grab the tire and go over the inner tube like so, and then tuck the rest of the inner tube inside of the tire. Once that's in, I'm going to now feed the bead onto the rim. So once you got most of the tire fed in, you'll get to this last section that gets to be pretty tricky. You'll want to use your palm to roll over the tire bead into the rim, like so. Now that we have our inner tube and our tire onto our rim, we're going to inflate them to the max pressure. The way we can find this is by looking on the sidewall here until we find some numbers that will be followed by the letters PSI. So for this tire, it is 70 PSI. With our wheel properly inflated, we can now install it on the bike. With our hub interface facing towards the front wheel, we're going to grab our belt, go around those cables, put it over the rear sprocket, and slide that wheel upward until it gets into the dropout. Now do be careful with these cables so they don't get pinched. And you'll also want to make sure that the rotor is inside of the caliper. Okay, I'm just going to finger tight these guys first, then grab my tool and snug up the wheel. I'm not going to lock them down yet, as I'll do that on the ground. Now let's connect our cables. I'm going to start with the cable with just a smaller anchor on there. Just bring that upward. I'm going to install the housing, and then put the end into the cradle here, and then I'm just going to pull the bottom cable outward. That'll take the slack on the top. Now I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to guide the housing into the hub interface, and then I'm going to get this lever into the cradle here, and then I'm going to close that lever like so. If you're having trouble doing this, take a look at the description below for a video detailing this process. So now we have our wheel on our bike. Let's make sure that the wheel is seated properly inside of the frame. We'll want to do that by putting the bike on the ground, loosening the axle nuts, and then tightening them back up. With the bike on the ground, we're going to loosen our axle nuts on both ends. Okay. I like to wiggle the wheel inside of the frame, and this should help get the wheel inside of the dropout properly. I'm going to add some weight onto the saddle and push down, and then I'm going to tighten the wheel evenly on both sides. So it's a little snug there. Do the same thing on the opposite side, and then go back here so it's a little bit tighter, and so on until the wheel is nice and tight. From here, we'll want to make sure that the wheel is centered in the frame and that our belt is properly tensioned. We can do that by looking down here between the rim or the tire and part of the frame on both sides. We want even spacing on both ends. If it's off, you'll want to readjust your tensioners here and adjust your belt accordingly. You can do that by following the link in the description below. Congratulations, you've successfully finished a flat fix on your Enviolo hub. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions. Our information is down below.